Hello again. Welcome back to Hangar 51. My name's Kenny. Today we're going to review the Dynam FW-190, the Focke Wulf 190. And I'm going to mention where I bought it from, which is Motionrc. And I'm just going to quickly touch on that first, and then we'll get into the plane. Guys, if you're not buying from Motionrc, you need to start, because this is a company that really cares about you, the customer, and about customer service. Okay, I've dealt with them a few times now, and really I don't want to deal with anyone else. I'm going to try to buy everything from them because they really know what customer service is. I got this kit, put it all together, tried to bind my radio to it, and tried two different radios, having similar problems. It would bind one day, the next day it wouldn't. It would take up to 5 minutes of servos doing this kind of pulsing around stuff before it would finally sync up and bind, and just a really strange. Tried to pinpoint the problem, tried different receivers, had no effect. It was doing the same thing, and this went on for almost 2 weeks. I sent Motion an email. I explained what it was doing, what procedures I went through to try to find the problem, and asked them, you know, what if there was something else they wanted me to try, or what their thoughts were. My thought is that the electronic speed control, the BEC, the battery eliminator circuit in the electronic speed control, was bad. I was getting either RF interference out of it, or possibly inconsistent voltages. I wasn't sure which. Tried running voltage tests on it, but I couldn't get the problem to happen while I was doing a voltage test. So anyway, so I just sent him an email. Didn't even have to call him on the phone. No guilt. You know, well, the problem must be your equipment. None of that. No, I didn't have to do any of that. Just sent him an email, explained what I did, explained what my test procedures were and what my findings were, and asked them what they thought. And 2 hours later, I get a phone call. Okay. Now this is like at 6:30 at night, where most places are probably already closed. I get a phone call, and I couldn't answer the phone because I was at work, but he left a message. Matt from Motionrc, he leaves me a message. He's very sorry, I'm having problems with the product. It's a 40 amp speed control. They're out of them right now, so they're going to send me a 50 amp speed control, which should be even better. And he's right, it should be. And they're mailing it out right away. And I got an email at the same time. Of course, I found later when I got home from work that he had also emailed me. But he made a phone call within 2 hours of getting my email, and an email saying that they're not just accepting that they realize to have a problem or any of that, or getting one of those cheesy automated emails that says, you know, we received your complaint or whatever. No, I got a phone call from a person that said, we're taking care of the problem, we're going to send you a speed control. And not only we're going to not send you the speed control that it's supposed to be, we're going to upgrade it because we're out of that one. And we're not going to make you, the customer, wait. Listen, I've been waiting over 2 months for less than $10 worth of motor mounts from motors I bought from Hobby King. And 2 months for $11, $12 roughly, motor mounts. I'm still waiting. And 2 hours later, I get an email and a phone call that they're sending me a speed control. And I got the speed control 3 or 4 days later. So that's customer service. No BS. No, you know, the problem's got to be you or your equipment or any of that. I mean, I'm pretty savvy with this. Been doing it a long time. I explained myself pretty clearly in the email. You know, what procedure I took. You know, I gave them everything I could give them, so that they understood what my problem was, what steps I tried to correct the problem, and where I was at. And they just went ahead and made a decision to go ahead and send me another speed control. So kudos to Motionrc, guys. You're doing an awesome job. Matt, I can't thank you enough. This is the second time I've had dealings with you, and they're just top shelf. No, nothing better. I really want to buy all my planes there. And if it's a toss-up between two different planes, and Motion has one. I'm probably going to buy the Motion one, even if I like the other plane better, just to deal with Motion, because they really, they've earned my business, for sure. I'm definitely going to do all my business there. Free shipping on everything, guys. No BS, get to the checkout, and then all of a sudden you got a $30 or $40 tag on shipping cost. None of that. Free shipping on everything. Great product lines, great customer service, very helpful. First problem I had, Matt immediately called me on the phone, and we discussed the problem. So I can't tell you, they're just, my experience so far, there's just nobody better. So if you're not buying from Motionrc, you really need to check them out. Go to motionrc.com, check out their product line, give them a try. I think you'll be very happy. I'm very, very happy. So just wanted to put that plug in there. They're not paying me for this. This is strictly, my feelings. I really very happy with them. So, and I think you will be too. So give them a try. Okay, so let's get back to the plane. I have a lot of mixed emotions about this plane, and I'm going to go over all of them. There's a lot of good and a lot of bad. The bad's not real bad, but it's a problem, and I'm just here to report what I can give you for information. You're going to have to make your own decision on my reviews, whether you want to buy the product or not. First off, the finish of the product is wonderful. I think it's a great looking airplane. The panel lines, the detail, excellent. Super, super great. I have no complaints about the quality of the plane. It's a great looking airplane. It's a beautiful airplane. It really is. None of the decals come on it. That's the way. You're paying a lot less for this model. That's why I wanted to check them out. The product looked good. I like the pictures of it. The reviews I'd seen on, of course, everybody else's reviews are always positive. So that's why mine aren't all positive. I'm trying to give you a real review, so you can make an honest decision whether you want to buy it or not. So, I watched all the videos and everything. I decided I was going to try the Dynam and see if what I thought of the product. First impression out of the box, it's awesome. Beautiful, just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Listen, look at the size of this. Now see, if you saw my Corsair, I was complaining about the battery bay door being, look at the size of this. I mean, you could put the transmitter in there if you want to. I mean, there's just, getting the battery, receiver, everything is just, I mean, there's, magnets on it, snaps on with perfect, it clicks in when it just snaps in. It's not coming off. Love it. That's a battery hatch. Excellent. The front cowling here also. It's just on with magnets. You just align it, and so again, I really love the look of this airplane. I love the way it, the panel lines, the battery hatch, awesome. The decals. Super good quality decals, awesome. Super sticky, very good quality material. But you better be good at putting them on, because I'm going to tell you, you only get one shot at it. These foam airplanes, the paint, it's not Dynam, it's not Dynam, it's not anybody, it's foam airplanes. The paint doesn't stick to them, okay? So you touch that decal down in the wrong spot and try to pull it back off, you're just going to pull the paint off. So you really have to be careful to get the decals. If you're not a decal expert, or at least very savvy with them, you may want to buy one of the planes that the decals are already on it. Just my thoughts. I'm going to give you some tips on how to put them on. Again, you got to make your own decision. What I do, usually, in most cases, I'm going to just, like this, the plus here, the X, okay? I would cut it out. Now these are peel and stick. They're already pre-cut to the correct size, so you don't have to do any trimming or anything. So I would just cut it off the card, because it's on a big sheet. Cut it off the card, so I'm dealing with just that. And I would peel it off the backing, cut the backing in half, and put it back on the backing, leaving a strip down the middle. A thin strip right down the middle of the decal, usually vertically. Okay? that gives me, now I can put it on the plane and I can position it around and get it exactly where I want it. And then I push down the center part, smooth it down, no bubbles, no air, no air bubbles or anything, smooth it right out. And now it's attached. And both sides are flipping loose. Fold the one side over, peel it off, and roll it down onto the body as you peel it off. And then same thing on the other side. Then you flip the other one over and you roll it off, and they'll come out almost perfect every time. You can also, if you want to just do it from one end, you can take it off, slide it over, and start at the end. I usually like to start in the middle. Just seems to work out better for me. But either way, as long as you start with, a small area that lets you get it lined up where you want it, and then you touch it down, and then roll it over and just smooth it out as you're peeling it, pulling the backing off, and just smooth it down. You'll get it on there with no bubbles, And if you get a bubble in it, you just poke it with a pin or the X-Acto knife blade, something like that, and smooth it, and the air will come out the hole, and you'll be okay. This decal here is very complicated, the Black Bird, because it's a compound curve. It's the fuselage curves this way and this way at the same time. So the decal's got to roll around the body this way and around the body this way while you're smoothing it out. And you've got this simulated exhaust stack right here that the decal has to go around. So you have to get it around that, and then the trailing edge piece that goes down here. Yeah, and I didn't get them perfect, but again, once you stick them, you're committed. So, it's a little. I spent over. It wasn't hard to put the plane together. I spent over 2 hours putting the decals on. That was very time consuming because I wanted them right, and so that was an issue. So, if you're not into decaling, you don't like to do it, and maybe this isn't the plane for you because, plane really doesn't do it justice without the decals, so you really need them on there. Now, I have a couple issues about the decals and the paint job. First off, the box shows the rudder to be yellow. Mine was not. I wanted it yellow because the bottom of the plane here is yellow, and mine is too. Okay? Underneath the cowl there is yellow. So, it goes with the tail to be, the rudder to be yellow. So I painted mine, taped it off and painted it. Of course, when I pulled the tape off, I pulled all the paint off the rudder, the vertical stab. So then, of course, again, Lowe's, Valspar, sample paint, awesome. Stuff is super great. I went and bought, I bought the gray. There's 3 colors on this plane. There's the light blue, there's a gray, and a tan. It's like a camouflage. So I bought the light blue and the gray so that I could touch up where I pulled the paint off the rudder here and touch up a few other things. And also, they don't show it here, but you can see a little square right here in the wing in the picture, and I'll show it to you on the plane. Okay, this right here, another one right here. Okay, that was blue plastic, the color of the bottom, basically the color of the gear door, this color. That's where the gear mounts, the retracts mount through the wing. It's a plastic insert that goes down through the wing, and the gear screws into it from the bottom. They left it that blue color. Looked awful. Okay, so I went and bought the Lowe's paint, and I didn't even have to clear it. Like I said, it's got a slight sheen to it. It's a perfect match. Just brush it on, you're done. Simple, real simple. So that cured that. So again, like I said, some problems with the plane, nothing major. So I had to, paint this yellow, touch up the paint those, and then the other problem I have, there's a swastika on the tail. Now I watched on YouTube, somebody else did a review on this plane from another manufacturer, and had a similar. All the decals were on the plane except the swastika. They left it off, and because I guess there's some political thing about the swastika because it's the SS Nazi Germany thing, and look, it's period correct for the plane. You know, if you're trying to make a scale airplane, it's supposed to be on there. That's my feeling. I don't give a crap about the old politics, you know, the Jews and all that. You know, that's all old news. It's 40 years ago, 50 years ago. I don't care anymore. You know, it's a part of history. I'm all for that. I get it. But the plane is supposed to have that on it. That's a scale effect of the plane. If you're not going to at least install it like the other company did, they at least included it in the box so that you had the option to put it on or not. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. That's a great way to handle that. So that if you want it on there, you can put it on. If it's offensive to you, you don't have to put it on. That's an awesome way to handle it. Dynam decided to handle it a different way. They didn't give it to you at all. So the swastika is no longer, you don't get it. What you do get is a smaller cross, you know, to put on the tail, which I didn't put on because it's too, you know, they're right next to each other. It would look stupid. They have a cross and a cross. It's supposed to be a swastika, so I just didn't even put it on. Left it off. So I have a little problem with that. You know, the box shows a yellow tail and a swastika. I did not get a yellow tail, and I did not get a swastika. So, again, not a big deal. There's a lot of good detail. No step decals on the flaps. The warning here for the hatch, I think it's something to do with, it says danger. I think this hatch on the plane explodes off or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, the detail's great on the decals. I really like them. Good quality. So those are a couple pet peeves. No big deal there. The motor has incredibly big magnets in it. I mean, look at the prop. I mean, it's like it's going through a compression stroke. It's so strong, and it flies with some authority, but not like I expected. You know, it's a 4-cell. It won't. I tried flying it on 3-cell. It'll fly on the 3-cell. It'll get in the air. It'll fly, but boy, it doesn't fly with any authority. It won't go vertical. It doesn't try to fall out of the sky, but it doesn't perform. So it just flies. And I mean, nice gentle turns, and it flies. And that's about all you can hope for in a 3-cell. 4th cell flies with plenty of authority. It'll go vertical. It's still not rocket fast. You know, it moves along at a nice speed. You know, probably in the 70 range, I'd say, but not a real speed demon. Now, I bet if we put a 2-blade prop on it, it would be fast. And the 3-blade, I'm guaranteed. You know, I found the same problem with several planes now. That when you put a 3 or a 4-blade prop on it, you get the 3/4 throttle, and then from 3/4 on, there's no difference in speed with a 3 or 4-blade prop on it. With a 2-blade, it'll continue to speed up right up through full throttle, but these seem to stall out at 3/4 throttle. Is all the more you're going to get out of it. It doesn't go any faster. You can throttle it all the way. It doesn't make any difference. So, again, those are my findings. Not a particularly good flying plane. It flies good. I don't want to say it doesn't fly. It flies good. It doesn't fly great. And it's really hard for me to pinpoint exactly why I'm saying that. I've had very windy days here. I haven't had a calm day to fly it. In the wind, it tends to, I don't know, dance around. It just doesn't seem to be stable. It doesn't seem to fly like, you know, you point and shoot kind of. It wanders around. So you got to be sticking it a lot. And it's a warbird, so that may be expected. I've had other warbirds I don't have that issue with, so I'm just giving you my take. It's not horrible, but it's not a beginner plane. You know, it demands way more attention than a beginner is going to give it. So it's not a beginner plane. Definitely a intermediate, for sure. It's a touchy airplane. Doesn't land particularly well either. It's very touchy on landing. It stalls easy. Also, the flaps. It's relieved for flaps. You can cut them out and add flaps if you want. I didn't want to cut it just yet, so what I ended up doing is doing flaperons. I programmed my radio to turn the ailerons into flaperons. 30 degrees flaps to try that, and at 30 degree flaps, it wants to nose down. Now normally when you put flaps down, it kicks the nose up and you have to put down elevator to compensate. This one's just the opposite. For some reason, it noses down and you have to put up elevator to compensate, which is really strange. I don't know what it is about this airframe that makes it fly. Like I said, it's kind of unstable, and you get a nose down attitude with flaps. I haven't figured it out. I don't know what the deal is with that. It's very strange. If you put 70% flaps down, you're going to lose the airplane. It wants a corkscrew into the ground. At 70%, I still had a little aileron, left. On the one down one, I had a little bit. I had full travel on the up one, but it won't. It just wants to screw into the ground. You put that much flap, and it just wings over and starts heading in. I mean, so be very careful if you do the flaps. Work your way up. Be very careful. You can lose this model real quick. Too much flaps. 30 seems to be. Again, it's going to nose down, so you're going to have to hold up elevator or trim it up or mix it. Like I did, put the mixing in to compensate for the. But I've never had to do that with an airplane, so it's very different. I don't understand what's going on with that. The retracts are touchy and delicate. Okay, they tend to bend sort of easy. The trunnion area is plastic, the main mounting, and if you over tighten the screws and twist the body, the retract won't work. I've had a lot of trouble with adjusting these retracts. And again, Motionrc, Matt, he gave me some advice. Try shimming them, and like I said, they're very helpful. Super, super, super great place. I got them to work. They're cycling up and down, but you got to really play with the screw tension. You can't over tighten them. And then, of course, if you have a hard landing, you bend them, and then you got to take them apart to straighten them because you don't want to reefing on them in a foam wing. You'll just rip up the wing. It's a beautiful airplane. I love the airplane. It's just such a beautiful plane, and it looks great in the sky. The contrast in the air between the blue bottom and the camouflage top, which is the gray and the tan camouflage. It's a great. It looks beautiful in the air. It's a great looking airplane. It really does look wonderful. Aileron servo in each wing. That's the way you do it. That's great. Love that. You get very positive aileron input. When you stop the roll, it stops the roll. It doesn't drift. It's just the plane just doesn't feel as solid. And again, I've been flying in very windy conditions. I don't know what it's going to do on a nice calm day. It might just straight as an arrow. It's not a bad flyer. It's a good flying airplane. It's not a great flying airplane. And like I said, you're going to have to stay on the sticks. You can't relieve yourself for a second. You can't, take a break, look away, or because it'll be in the ground before you can bat your eye. So, definitely a 4-cell only. You can't. Don't fly on a 3-cell. You won't. It'll fly, but there's just no point in it. You won't have a good flight. So don't even waste your time trying it. I'm already giving you the information. Now, if you want to try different props on it, I suggest that. I would definitely put a two-blade prop on it. Roughly, I would start with the same diameter pitch as what you've got, but go to a 2-blade and see if you don't get some more performance on it. I'm sure you will. I haven't been playing long enough, and with all the problems I've had with the speed control at the beginning, I haven't flown it enough. So I haven't had a chance to try that yet, and I probably will. And if I do, I will update you. But if one of you guys are going to try it, please comment in mine. If you put a video up, great. Reference my video in your video, or put comments in my video to go look at your video. I don't have any rivalry here. I'm just trying to help people. So if you've got more information on this plane that you can share, please share it here so that the people watching get the picture. Other than that, it's a good plane. I like it. It's not my favorite flyer for sure, but it's a great looking, you know, sitting here looking at it, I love it. It's a beautiful airplane. I really can't say enough about, you know, the fit and finish. Oh, there's one more thing I just remembered. It comes with navigation lights. I'm very disappointed in Dynam for that. That was such a token effort. It wasn't even worth doing. They obviously didn't put any thought at all into the lights. It was strictly an afterthought. There's absolutely nothing in the instructions about the lights, how to wire them. They don't come wired. Listen, all they did was stick an LED in the end of the wingtips and one on the bottom of the plane with the wires hanging off of it. And that's it. The wires are just hanging. There's no plug on the wires. They're not wired in. There's nothing in the instructions to tell you what voltage they want the LEDs to work at. It was just a dismal effort to put lights in the plane. They shouldn't even have bothered. I mean, if you weren't going to do it right, then don't even do it, because this was very disappointing. And I got to tell you, one of the reasons I buy a plane is for the lights. You know, if I'm looking at two different planes, one's got lights and one don't have lights, I'm going to buy the one with the lights. I like the lights. I think that looks awesome. You know, nice, bright, you know, solid red and green, or flashing, you know, this one's supposed to be a solid red, solid green, and a flashing around the bottom. The wingtip, the lights didn't work at all. Maybe I overvolted them. I assumed they were going to work off the 4-cell pack, so I just hooked them to that, and they didn't work. And then I tried lower pack. I couldn't get those to work at all. So then I decided to try the bottom one slowly and work my way up. So I started with a 2-cell pack. It lit up very, very dimly, very dimly. But it lit. So then I went to a 3-cell pack. It lit a little bit brighter and then burnt out. So it wouldn't even work on a 4-cell pack because the 3-cell pack burnt it out. So again, very disappointed in the lights. That was just such a horrible attempt to try to put lights on an airplane that obviously they didn't originally think. There's nothing in the instructions about the lights. Nothing. No mention of them. No way to wire them. Nothing. Just complete afterthought, and such a poorly executed afterthought. I was very disappointed in that. I have to tell you, you know, between the non-yellow tail, the no swastikas, and the lights that are completely useless. I mean, I'm going to put my own LEDs in it now and make it work. The only thing I can give them kudos for is it's wired now. The wires are in the wing, so I can reuse the wire. But I mean, just a horrible attempt to put lights in a plane. So there is some more. You got to build this one. This isn't a 2-3 screw together and you're ready to fly deal. You got to glue the pilot in. You got to glue the seat back in. You have to glue the canopy on. I think. Of course, the tail feathers you have to put on, and I don't remember, I think, can't remember, I'm not exactly positive, but pretty sure that I think I had to glue the horizontal stab, and the vertical stab goes down and there's a screw through the bottom. I believe that's how that worked, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely this screws in, because I know there's a screw hole in the bottom for this. I can't remember if this glued in or just was screwed in with the top. It came with 2 props. Big thumbs up for that. 2 3-bladed props. You know, it's a scale prop, scale spinner, very nice, and it will fly on this. Like I said, it's not a rocket ship, but it flies with plenty of authority. It'll just sail through the air at a nice scale speed, a little faster than scale speed. You can throttle back and it still stays in the air. That's fine. I mean, if you really want a rocket ship, play with the prop, put a 2-blade on it. It's definitely going to be faster with a 2-blade. But scale look, scale flying, plenty of power, no problem. Again, on takeoff roll, very careful, guys. Do not horse this off the ground, or you'll screw it right in the ground. It'll torque roll. You know, it wants the wingtip stall and torque roll. It either wingtip stalls the one way or torque rolls the other. So, half throttle, get it rolling across there, gently pull back and let it climb out gently and throttle up slowly. If you just horse it off the ground, full throttle it, and it'll snap roll right into the ground. It's a very, very touchy airplane. So just be aware. If you haven't made any planes before, or only high wing or very stable platforms, you don't want to maiden this one yourself. Get some help. Get one of the other guys there that have got a lot of hours to maiden it and trim it for you, and then you can have it from there. But don't take a chance on wrecking the plane by trying to maiden it yourself if you're not a competent pilot, because this one's tricky. My first takeoff was really hoarse. Oh my God, it stood on this wing. I overcorrected back to this wing. I had enough altitude to get away with it. I got it squared off and up, and was like, holy crap. So wasn't ready for that, and so be careful. It's a handful. It can be a handful. Once you get it flying, it's not all over the sky or anything. It doesn't drift around. It just kind of, the wind will blow it, and then it'll start flying that way, and then the wind will blow it back, and it'll start flying. It doesn't just cut through the air, and and again, I haven't flown it on a calm day, only windy days. Might be a very different experience on a nice calm day. It's not hard to fly, but you got to be on it. You got to stay with it. You can't relax on this one. It's not a very relaxing flight. You're gonna be busy, not real busy, but you got to be attentive to the plane. It's definitely not a relax flight. It's going to be a keep your attention flight. Not crazy. Oh my God, nail biting flight at all. Not that, but not a, hey, look at my plane, this thing's great. No, you ain't gonna do that either. You gotta fly it. You gotta be on it. So you gotta watch it. So, other than that, you have to glue the guns in the wing. There's 4 guns. They're just tubes. You glue them in. They give you the glue in the kit. So you gotta glue the 2 wing halves together. And they go right together. There's a wing tube. There's a spar down the middle of the wing, and a seam down the middle. And you just glue them together. No big deal. It's a pretty easy build. It's not complicated at all, but it's not a 3-minute out of the box kind of build either. There's things you have to do. You got to glue the wing halves together. The retracts are already installed, but you do have to glue the wing together. Put the spar in it. Put the guns in it. Glue the canopy on. Glue the pilot in. Glue the tail feathers on. And then if you want to paint it yellow, you got to do that. Not complicated. The decals are the most complicated thing. If that sums it up for you, I struggled way more with the decals than anything else because of the foam. You can't touch it down. Listen, I put the ones on the X's on the top of the wing wrong right off the bat. They're slightly crooked. I followed the panel line of the aileron. I should have been following the panel line of the top of the leading edge. So they're not straight like this. They're slightly cocked like this. Not a big deal. They look okay. If I didn't tell you that, you probably would have never noticed it. I got all the rest of them right. After I made that mistake and knew I couldn't correct it, then I was way more attentive to the rest of them and got them on straight. So just, again, be aware. But yeah, I spent at least 2 hours putting the decals on because I was being so careful to get them on. And the trickiest ones are the birds. So I would save those for last. Do the rest of them first to get used to the idea of how they go on and what you need to do. And then, when you're ready to really tackle the tough one, the birds are going to be the tough one. So anyway, okay, so that's my review. Steerable tailwheel, and I love the way it's anchored in there beautifully. You put it in there with one set screw. The mechanism is already in the fuselage. All you do is take the metal, and it's got a flat spot, so you can't get it in wrong. It's got a flat spot on it, so you just put it in, line this flat spot up with the set screw, you know, and align it and screw it. Beautiful. It's simple. I love that one. That's a real nice way to put that in. It's a nice airplane. It's a really nice airplane. I wish it flew better. And when I say flew better, I mean all in all. I mean the fact that the flaps make it pitch down, it's really got my head in a spin. I cannot figure out what's going on with this airfoil that would make it do that, because that is not natural. So, you know, that, and you know, it's a little twitchy and it doesn't land well. It'll tip stall on you. That's why I did the flaps, because the first landing I came in a little too slow and it rolled right over. So you got to come in not hot, but you don't stall it, because it'll just screw in the ground. You gotta keep the air under it, and the flaps at 30 degrees helped a little, but at the same time, too much flaps, you know, it's nosing down, and then too much flaps, and it just wants to roll into the ground. You almost instantly lose control of it. It's 70% flaps. It just, as soon as you put them down, it almost wants to just screw into the ground. So just be very careful, guys. You know, if you're going to do the flap thing, baby steps. Work your way up to it. Find out what it wants, gently, slowly. Don't try to do it in one shot. It's a sensitive airplane. It's the best way I can put it. It's very sensitive to the inputs. So make sure you're working your way up to it. Okay? Other than that, beautiful airplane. Great. I like the plane. I really do like the plane. I think it's beautiful. It looks great in the air. I can't tell you it's my best flyer. It's not. But it's okay. It's not the worst flying plane I have either, by far. And I guess I've gotten spoiled. I'm going to be honest with you. I've got two planes that fly so good. They're both warbirds. One's the FMS P-51 that I did a review on, and the other one is the Fly Zone Corsair. And those two planes just fly unbelievable. They're just magnificent in the air. They look great in the air. They fly great in the air. And I'm spoiled now. So when I compare the new one I got to those, and they don't step up, I'm a little disappointed. Not horribly disappointed. I still love the airplane, but and as far as the retracts, listen, I'm flying out of a cow field. Okay, it's bumpy. There's cow patties you got to go around, and there's ruts, and there's mole hills, and you know, if you're not flying off of a very smooth grass field or a paved runway, consider belly landing this. Okay, you know, the retracts are pretty touchy. They're pretty delicate. They bend easy. They tweak easy in the frame, and then they don't go up and down right. You got to play with them. You know, take off. You know, find a nice smooth spot, take off, and then when you're landing, it just, you know, if you're unsure, just suck the gear up and belly land it, and you'll be, you know, if you're worried about scratching up the bottom, listen, you go get the Valspar paint, touch it up, or put clear packing tape on the bottom, you know, where it's going to touch down, and just do that, and you'll be much better off. These retract planes just don't handle rough surfaces. These rough fields I'm flying in, all of my planes, not this one, all of them, all of my planes with retracts I'm having issues with flying on this rough cow pasture. It's just, they're just tearing them up. So I've started to belly land them now, because I'm tired of fixing retracts. I'm tired of having to take them out, rebend them, re-straighten them, adjust them, and it's ruining the fun. So give that some thought. If you're not flying off of a smooth field, maybe just belly land it. You'll be happier. You know, you can always take off with the gear, and then so you don't have to hand launch it, and then just bring it in on the belly, and you know, good enough. You know, it's an easier. It's much easier than spending hours afterwards re-straightening the gear, because if you don't hit it just right, or if like mine, when you land a nice landing and then hit a rut, and it does the nose over, and then the gear's bent, and you know, not a good experience. So anyway, all right, enough talking. Thanks for watching. Comment at the bottom of the video. Like me here. Subscribe to me here on YouTube. Subscribe to me on Facebook, and I'll catch you on the next review. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.